Welcome to the August 2016 update of my One Lap of America project. As you can see, I got my MR2 under covers at the moment. Mainly because later in this video I'll be showing you guys what the new livery looks like with all the new graphics on it. It's really nothing too fancy. I'm just, like with anything with this project, I'm just having a lot of fun with it. But for now, let's start with a couple little technical updates we got for you, and then we're going to come back to this and show you what everything looks like. Now, I know the lighting in here is pretty bad, but it's really the only way I got to show you what's going on here. One of the problems you've seen in all the previous videos is how much I've been struggling with battery life on the GoPro and keeping the battery charged. Unfortunately, the factory cigarette lighter in this car is a piece of crap, really, after 30 years and a couple of smokers probably before I bought the car. So I've been struggling with power and keeping the phone charged. So what I added here, and we'll show you here, we've got a power port now, 12 volt voltmeter, USB power, either the 2 amp or a 1 amp, and also over here, it's not lit up, and like I said, it's hard to see. We also have another cigarette lighter power port there as well. Now the tricky part with all this was, of course, getting power to it, because we're looking at some decent amperage there that I wanted to pull, and no decent available power. So I'll show you guys how I took care of this issue and got power up in there where I can make it useful. Now, part of the logistics of the One Lap is that I have to basically live in this car for 7 days, and I'm going to try to document it on video as I go. So I need power in here for accessories, things like that, charging phones, running laptops, what have you. And to do that kind of power, you're going to need to properly fuse everything and properly run good wiring. So you can't just twist stuff together and wrap it in electrical tape. You need good crimps, good quality components. And there's a bit of a side aspect into that. When I first bought this car, the whole frunk was filled with a big speaker box with a pair of 12-inch woofers in it. Not my thing, but whatever. When I took that out, I discovered, unfortunately, they had also cut a big hole here in the firewall for sound to pass from the frunk into the cabin. Now that left me actually an opportunity here when I finally got around to patching it, putting a new panel in there. What I did was I installed from Cooper Busman one of their rear terminating fuse boxes here. Gives me a really clean install the way it's put in here, and the terminals are on the back side, so I have good access into the cabin to run the accessory wiring. I can't say enough good things about this particular fuse box. I've used them on a couple other projects. They use Delphi 280 style sealed wire terminations on them, which is very similar to the GM weather pack. So you get a good splash proof, not necessarily watertight, but a good splash proof, high quality fuse box here. It gives me 20 available fuse locations. This particular one, each row of fuses is on an individual bus. Each of these individual fuse buses runs to the back battery compartment with individual 10 gauge wires. Then in the rear trunk, next to where I'm going to be mounting the battery eventually, I have a good set of relays and fuses in there. So this whole thing powers up when you go to the accessory or run with the car. Take your key out, turns everything off. So this is going to give me a lot of available power for accessories down the road, additional gauges, things like that. So this is one of those things where you need a good framework for any kind of electrical upgrades, and this is a really good piece to make that possible. And I'm also starting to fix some of the other big pieces of the puzzle. Like I said last month, my biggest performance limitation right now is the fact I'm running all-season radials, stock 14-inch rims with a tall profile. What I did end up picking up is a set of wheels. They're used because I'm on a bit of a budget right now. If I could afford it, I'd be picking up some RPF ones or something like that. But instead, I ended up with some used Koenigs. This is the Koenig Minus, which was discontinued a couple years ago. But it's the correct lug pattern. It's a 15 by 6.5. A lot of people tell me, oh, that's too narrow for the tires you want to run. But every tire I've looked up, the manufacturing specs say run it on between a 5.5 and a 7.5 inch rim. 6.5, going by the tire manufacturer's recommendations, is right in the middle. It is the actual optimum width for, according to the manufacturer, for a 205/50 tire. Light at 11.5 pounds, so they do weigh less than the ones I've got on there. They have a 5-spoke look, but they're all doubled up spokes, so I'm hoping that'll give me a bit extra strength. They're not new, they're used. They got a couple scuff marks here, there, and everywhere, but they're gonna suit my needs and they're gonna save me a couple bucks I can spend on other things down the road, such as tires. When it comes to tires also, Grassroots Motorsports had a good issue this month come out. It's their October issue. I know it's August, but it's their October issue, running down the one lap of America for this year. And what they were saying was a lot of the people running your common autocross tires, such as the RE71 Potenzas, really suffered in the mornings because it's early May and you go across the country. So they had rainy mornings, they had cool mornings, and the guys running those super sticky extreme performance tires basically they just really did not run very well compared to the guys that had a step down in performance, but a broader temperature range and a broader water range. So it's going to kind of change my tire choices a bit, but that's one reason I'm doing this 2 years out, is so I can do this research and give myself the best chance at not making a fool out of myself and not wrecking the car. So right now I'm still kind of up in the air on tires. I'm leaning towards the current generation Star Specs just because they seem to do better in the rain and the cooler temperature. So they might not be the highest performing in perfect conditions, but they have a broader range of conditions that they work well in. So like I said, if it's a nice, warm, dry, hot day, I might be a couple steps down. But if it's a cool, damp morning, then actually tire-wise, I'll be ahead of a lot of the other guys out there. All stuff you got to consider when you run an event like this is it's just so many little details, which is, like I said in earlier videos, one of the reasons I'm really liking this event. So I've been leading up to this for a little while. Underneath the covers here, we got a whole brand new graphics package on the car. Like I said before, it's a fairly simple graphics package, but it's mine, it's new, it's fancy, and I'm enjoying this. Because my own little home business has been paying for pretty much everything to do with the car, I figured, well, what the heck, let's just go with that as a theme. So without further ado, I'm going to present to you here the Siegecraft Electronics Toyota MR2. Like I said, it's not the most complicated package, but we got the nice hood applique with my business logo on there for Siegecraft Electronics, where I build various diagnostic equipment and update stuff for pinball machines. Matching numbered lettering on the side, and we actually continue the silver red striping all the way to the back. So we'll show you that little bit later on, but here it is. What do you think?
You could probably say I'm a bit of a masochist. I decided to do all the graphics on my own for this car. Picked up a vinyl plotter off the internet, practiced on a few things, and then went to town doing an entire hood applique with multiple layers. And it wasn't easy. I learned a lot as I went, but it was definitely a struggle and not something I would do on a professional basis for other people anywhere near, well, ever. But I am really happy with the way how things progressed on it, and really I did learn quite a lot on how to apply vinyl graphics, which is good because I'm sure that in the future I am going to change things here and there, probably add some more, maybe tweak it around a little bit, not really sure. But not easy and not something I would recommend.
So I have a bit of a problem. When I decided to change my livery, of course, I had to take the old numbers off. I've complained a few times about the guy that did the body work on this before. Took the numbers off, took paint off the door. So, can't paint it because then I got to wait a few months for this to dry and cure before I can apply any new lettering. So, I have to kludge it a little bit, put some black vinyl on before I put the new lettering on. Over here I'll get covered by the new one. And when it does come time to change this again, I am going to have to repaint this door. But not much you can do about it.
By comparison, the side numbering wasn't as difficult, but still it wasn't easy. And having everything on a vertical surface like this meant I had to do a dry apply on it, which complicates things a bit because you got a lot more alignment to do here. Made it harder to work bubbles out and really get it lined up the way I wanted to do it. It came out well, but harder than it should have been.
It's a pain, and I'm not very good at it. Ta-da!
Now this is a cool one for you guys. I decided to download the Trackaddict app for my iPhone, which lets me pull GPS data to get various information. I used Dashware, which is a very nice program that's generously provided free now for download. And as you can see on here, I got the speed, and the other gauge on there is a G-force meter, which are working really well. Unfortunately, the timing didn't quite work as well as what I would have liked because of the limitations on an iPhone GPS. But I got a GPS external receiver on the way. It should be here in just a couple days. It'll let me get more accurate information and get good real-time data for you. So sorry I wasted most of this run here talking, but I got one more run I'll show you after this one, which I describe the actual run itself rather than just babble on about how I'm going to give you more information next month. I'm definitely liking this angle a lot better for evaluating my runs, like watch this cone here. I wish I could see the right side as well, so I'm actually considering getting a second GoPro at some point to try to synchronize both sides and see how the run goes from both sides of the car. This is one particularly tricky spot that I wish I would have reviewed the video between my two sessions, because coming out of the straightaway here, you can see I'm slowing down well before that first cone in the slalom. Lost a couple of seconds there, which I didn't realize till later in the day when I was doing my session working on the track. Now you also notice, as I was discussing last time, I'm doing much better about keeping my hands on the wheel, focusing more, and keeping it in a more appropriate gear. Definitely a good day for the runs, doing really well compared to other cars in my era.
So that pretty much closes out August. A lot of stuff going on as far as laying groundwork for future upgrades. As I said, I'm not going to do too much for performance upgrades for this season. Mainly it's about getting seat time and just learning what the car needs. So I haven't changed too much now, but I do have a lot of stuff that I'm starting to get on my list for the overwinter period. Otherwise, got September coming up, but not a huge amount going on for September other than the 5th event for the autocross season. So we'll catch you guys next month, see how things go, and we'll try to scare up something fun for you. Thanks. Bye-bye.